Hi everyone, I'm Psychic Chris Dufresne. I get a lot of questions from time to time. What is the afterlife about? What does it consist of? To give you the layman's terms to the best of my ability, it's exactly a lot like what we have here in this life plane on Earth. Except we don't have any pain, we don't have any suffering, we don't have depression or anxiety or panic attacks. We don't get older. The average age is about 25 to 30 years of age. So if you pass as, let's say, an infant, you're 25 to 30. You pass as in your 90s, you're between 25 to 30, which I think is good and positive. If you could imagine that in this lifetime, if we all knew exactly what heaven was like, well, think about that realistically. Who would stay here? Probably nobody. People would say, life's too tough, gotta go home, goodbye. In heaven, you can't cut your finger or something like this and say, I'm bleeding, somebody give me a Band-Aid. You can't experience those things. That's what this life is about. We're here to evolve, to grow, to experience, to learn. Take back everything we got to heaven as perfecting it from that point. Some of us like to go to grade school and be done, or high school and be done. Some of us don't want to go to school. Some wants to be double PhDs. Same thing over there. There's different levels of heaven, okay? All the way to 7. And depending on how far you want to go is up to the individual. But heaven is a perfect place. That's why if any of you have ever had a dream, and in that dream you wake up and it's so real, you have to go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom, you come back and you look at the clock, you know, I've got 45 minutes to sleep, I'm still dead tired. I'm going to go to sleep, but when I wake up, I'm going to call my staff, everybody I know, and tell them what my experience is and what this was all about. And you wake up and you're like, I can't really believe this. For the life of you, can't remember a damn thing. There's a reason for that. Once again, if we knew what heaven was like, I don't think any of us would, excuse me, my phone's ringing, any of us would be staying here. That's why we have that survival mechanism in us, because that keeps us here. Otherwise, we would go. When our loved ones pass, a lot of times the closest one is the last one to get information. Take me and my mother, Sylvia Browne, when she passed. My friends, family be coming up. Chris, I had a dream of your mother. Well, could you please tell her, stop on by, please, because I've got some questions I want to ask her. But I was my mom's, she was my best friend, I was hers. We were 2 peas in a pod, still are. And if someone's called me a mommy's boy, I'd be happy to take that title. And when my mom went, I didn't know what to do. Just to get out of my fetus position, just to keep myself functioning, I would pretend and put my mind that she was on tour, because my mom had 67 books published and she would travel around the world quite a bit. So I would just pretend in my mind, and I could do enough to buy that she was on this tour, and then the tour would come to a close. And then I'd feel it seeping in on me again. So I'm saying to myself, Chris, I gotta come up with something, because there's a lot of people that depend on me, that rely on me, that count on me. I want to do well for everyone. My mother raised me that whenever there's a negative, you have to find a positive. So she'd always sit me down in that chair and say, Chris, you sit in that chair, you don't get out of that chair until you find a positive about this. Now my mother dies. How am I going to find a positive of this? I think I'm stuck in this chair my natural life, rest of my natural life. I'm never got this chair. She'll be glued to me till the day I die. So I'm throwing a fit, biggest fit you could probably ever imagine. Staff comes to me, starts asking me some questions. Congregation starts coming to me, asking me some questions. And then it hits me. I never thought would ever be possible. I've got my positive. My positive is, I'm not afraid of anything. Seriously not afraid of anything. I've gone through the hardest thing you ever go through. And I'm still here. And I'm breathing. I'm helping people. And it's okay. Why? Because like my mother says, everything comes full circle. Everything does. I had a dream of my mother. And in the dream, she's sitting down this wall of tables. And she's looking through her purse with her 2 pens, because she doesn't want to mess with her nail polish, as she was. She only had the handle purses. She wouldn't have like straps over her shoulder. And she's looking at me, and I'm panicked, like, Mom, I'm here. Come here, talk to me. And she's looking at her purse, driving me crazy. Finally, I get her to come over to my table and sit down. All of a sudden, it gets dark. And this white beaming light comes in. I think, oh, great, I'm dying, but I'm with my mom, so it's okay. It's okay. I can accept this. I'm going. It's all right. And I see her face, and I'm looking at her. I'm saying, Mom, talk to me about something. And all of a sudden, it starts getting dark. I look over to my left, and I see shadows of heads, and I see this microphone. I see this podium. I'm thinking, oh, she's getting ready to go on. Okay. I'm looking at her like, Mom, are you going to go on? Hello, are you going to do the show? Hello. And I remember Mom sitting there like this, and she just sits back. And I said, okay, I get it. I think it was her way of passing it on. And never thought I'd ever be able to get up and walk away from my mother. But I get up, I walk out through the curtains, the crowd starts applauding. And here I am. So I know she's passing it on. When my mother was here, she was busy a lot. And the times we had with each other was great. Did a lot for the short amount of time we had at different times because she was busy. She loved to work, as I love my work. To the sense of, as my mother's passed now, I would be thinking, oh my gosh. Because I would get done with the reading, and I think, I'd go over to my mother's house and I'd say, Mom, how you doing? She said, Chrissy, it's a really tough day. I said, okay. I felt like someone was with me with that. Someone was fighting the fight that I was fighting. Sometimes readings can wear on you depending on what they are. And if there's a child involved, something like this, you're a human being and you could just wipe you out. And sometimes you can do 20 a day and feel so euphoric like you haven't even worked. You never know what you're going to get until you're there. But having her with me, I was thinking, God, what would it ever be like if she's not here that I could say, hey, Mom, how you doing? And just she says, oh, it's a great day. I feel the same, You have someone like with you. So she passes. I'm freaked out again, But now, if someone would have told me this years ago, that my mother was going to be with me all the time, that my mother would never be more in yelling distance from me, I have my mom more with me than I did when she was alive, for God's sakes. If someone told me that, I wouldn't believe it. Yeah, I'm in a psychic profession, I wouldn't believe it. But it's happened. I couldn't trance to save my life. If my life depended on it, I couldn't trance. Guess what? I can trance now like a walk in the park. Why? My mother does it for me from the other side. So she is with me. Now I miss the physical. I miss her laughter. I miss her raspy voice. I miss it all. But I'm very comfortable where she's at. And people say, Chris, how can you carry it? I'm not carrying it alone. I'm carrying it with my mother. She's walking hand in hand with me. That's why I have this strength. That's why I have the thing. Got to remember something. My mom deserves all the credit for this. She's the pioneer here. I'm just carrying on her words of wisdom. But all of it goes to my mother. She's the one that deserves it. My spirit guide, Charlie, when I was 5, I thought I had 5 spirit guides. It ended up that I had 4 and 1 earthbound. One was badly burned. My mother taught me how to direct him to go home, which is follow the white light and went home. So I ended up with 4 spirit guides at this time. Now 4 spirit guides, in my opinion, is a pain in the rear. You go to 1 for 1, you forget this, you go that, I call them on my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that was earthbound. But it just got too confusing. So I ended up with Charlie. He was the one that would help me go to 1 or 2 or 3. Seemed like he was more the leader of the pack. And I just liked talking to Charlie. We just grooved really good together. So I have 1. And you can't get, if I have to have 2, you're going to fight me on it because I don't want it. Because mine works for me, he works overtime. But technically speaking, 90 years to life is 48 hours to them over there. So Charlie's given up a weekend. Big whoopee-doo-doo. So he has a crammed weekend. Who hasn't done that studying for a test? Who hasn't done that going into real estate to get past the test? Or some type of doctor that's cramming for some type of exam? We all have been there. Well, Charlie's got his time with me right now. We all have a spirit guide. Look at it this way. Police officers have partners. Teachers have teachers' aides. Coaches have assistant coaches. So why should it be so absorbent that we have a spirit that guides us in our life? Follow our blueprint and our contract that we wrote, that they know every word for word verbatim. They know what we think before we can get our mind to think it up in the first place. They'll help us even if we don't ask them to, because they know certain kinds of events that are coming up that they will protect us from. I'm sure each and every one of you have some experience in your life that you were driving, walking, something happened, and one time when I was in my Ford truck, just bought it, it was $800, and I didn't know it didn't have brakes, and it didn't, and we're on a 2-lane road, and I flipped the steering wheel, and me and my friend Kurt, we got out of that truck, walked around that thing 10 times, can't believe I didn't hit a damn thing. Nothing. I mean, I'm still get chills when I think about it, because it's not humanly possible not to hit something. With them Caltrans buses coming each way, and the people that were stopped, and a 2-lane road, and a big F-250 truck. Didn't hit a damn thing. That was Charlie saving my rear. That's an exit point that we call. We have 5 of them. Some of them don't use all our exit points. Some of us do. You could go at any one. Some of us, when we have exit points, you're not even knowledgeable that they're there. Like when I was in England with my mother. She goes to step across off the curb, and I pull her back by her scarf, and she was so close to the bus, it skinned her nose. Why? She was looking the wrong way. They drive on the opposite right side of the road over there. But she would have not been okay if I would have grabbed that scarf. That's an exit point. Something could go on behind you, may not know about it. Some of them are blatantly obvious. We'll get into details in this time down the road. But Charlie is my guide, as each and every one of you have a guide. Sometimes, depending on what personality you have, like if you're extreme personality, a perfectionist personality, it may be a little bit harder for you to relax, to get to the alpha state right before you fade into a daydream stage. Then you're able to ask a question, get the answer, time will pass, you see the accuracy. It's harder to tune in with that. We have different ways of doing that. But then you'd have to, come to the lecture, see it. So, spirit guide, I wouldn't know what it's like not to have it. I've had it my whole life. And someone that's coming new into this, it's a new experience, but you got to experience it yourself. You have to have an open mind, but you know when something's right. Just like if you sit down with a psychic, you know within a couple minutes if they're the real deal or if you just want to get your money and run, because you feel it. Why? Because every single solitary person in this world today is psychic to some level of extent. Some are more than others, as people are stronger athletes or stronger spelling bees than others. But we all have that ability. We all have that sense. Just like you have your taste sense or your smell sense or anything else, or the pain sense, So, without further ado, we're going to be getting more of this time down the road. I just wanted to give you an insight on what Charlie and Sylvia are to my life still. We're going to get more into this, more into details with this, with lectures and things like this, but I wanted to give you some insight of my world and what I see, and know that my mother, Sylvia Browne, is not too far away from any of us, because I have a quick link to her anytime, day, morning or night. She's not more than yelling distance from me, so she's still with all of us very much. I want to thank you for tuning in and listening.